This one go further than that. You go to school, you're not allowed to talk. Until you reach the point or the age that you can talk and nobody shut you up. Yeah, it's a teenage on a 17, 18, 20. Now you talk, but you're not alone. That everybody in the same boat. Everybody talk over each other. Nobody listen to each other.
Right.
Here is the noise that you talk about.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And this is a habit. It's not anything. It's a habit that
It's
you
a
want to
collective
replace.
habit.
That you want to replace.
Right.
And here I give you a tool. I mean, to replace habit, what you need is the reminder.
How so? Explain.
Reminder, which is mean, I helped some guy that he said, look, I go to meeting and I talk too much. And because I talk too much, there I reach a point that the people stop to listen to me. So what I can do to stop talking when I go to meeting, when I go to Excel, when I go to introduce myself, when I have kind of a communication or relationship with other people, if I talk all the time, I don't hear other is not good. So I said to him, and I asking you to do that. Hold your hand like that. Now put it together. Yeah? Put it again like that. Now shift over. Close it. How does that feel?
How does it feel?
It feels strange, weird,
Okay, yeah.
right? I said to him, every time that you go to a meeting, hold your hand like that in a strange position. Yeah? Now your mind gonna ask why I'm doing that. This is the trigger that you do to remind yourself that you need to keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
Yeah? That's work for him extremely. He replaces habit.
So he replaces habit. And now this is a habit that serves him.
Yes, and that can serve you in any habit that you have. Because when you have a habit, what you need, it's a trigger to remind you, to wake you up. Because we don't think, we just do. You're on autopilot when you're in habit. So you need to stop. Yeah? And to think about what you do. But you need the trigger to tell you to do that. So this can be the trigger. It can be many different areas, which is mean I said that's what called NLP, neuro linguistic program, and I use it in a way that it's a different way that I use it, but it's work for me, which is mean you have a watch on your wrist, right? Take the watch, put it on the other wrist before you go to the meeting. Yeah, well, and people say, they're going to say, well, that's weird. You just ignore that because the watch on that wrist remind you something that you want to replace.
Right.
Yeah. What is that? You make the decision. You make all kind of, you want to break some habit, which is mean you're not breaking habit, you're replacing habit. Because as I mentioned before, it's time and activity. The time there all the time, the activity change. Yeah? If you don't change the activity, it's the same activity. So you replace the activity on the same amount of time, on the same period of time.
Right.
Yeah? And here you go. It's that hard to do.
Not for me.
So when you do it again and again and again and again, now you replace the habit.
Right.
Yeah, now you bring some good habit in your life. What you did bad in the past, which is mean you was talking all along, you don't listen to other people. When you have the trigger to tell you that you need to shut up, let other people talk, you have the trigger to which remind you. Now you replace habit. Otherwise, if you don't have the trigger, you just don't remember that. You just keep doing what you're doing. If that's serving you and helping you, great. If it's not, so it's not a good habit.
Right. It's And it's interesting because, you know, people say, like, you know, and you probably could definitely relate to this. Smoking is a bad habit, you know, and people feel like, again, as we're talking about, like, you know, the language that you're talking to yourself that reinforces you to do certain things or not to do certain things. So if you're talking to yourself that, like, you know, it's a hard habit to break, smoking, that is that those people that eventually do quit, they feel they have to replace it with something else because it was just something that they were, like you said, they're on autopilot, something that they do every single day for, you know, days after days, weeks after weeks, years after years, and they're so used to doing that, and that it's almost second nature to them. So all of a sudden they quit, and now all of a sudden they feel that they have to continue, you know, doing something. So how do they replace that? You know, so how do they replace that bad habit where now something that was so routine to them, they have to replace it with something else? So it's interesting that some people that are able to quit cold turkey, you know, never go back to it again. Some people have to do something else. So they've gone to, like, you know, e-cigarettes, or they do the vaping. They have to be doing something because that's, you know, they have to replace it. I don't know if those things are also good habits. I don't know if they replace one bad habit or worse habit to something that's not as bad. But, you know, I see what you're talking about. It has to be replaced with something else, at least for the time being. It may not be necessarily a good habit, but it is something else to replace that.
Well, the first thing to, when you talk about something that big, which is mean, it's cigarette today, some people say it's substance abuse. Yeah, which is mean, the first thing that you have to do is to make a decision. You need to make decision that you're going to stop. Yeah, and now what kind of help you need? First, you need yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So this activity that you do, let's take it to further, bigger than that, which is mean there is alcohol, there is drug also. Right? So you need to make decision that you want to stop that. So now it's activity that you do on a time. Yeah, even when you're smoking, how many cigarettes you smoke an hour? Here is the trick. I quit smoking, kind of cold turkey, but it was processed, which is mean I make a decision, yeah, that I want to stop smoking first. Yeah, and then what I did, I cut the amount of cigarette that I smoke in an hour. So if it's in an hour, I used to smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes, I cut it in half. Now only 2 cigarettes in an hour. Yeah. So now every hour I need to remember when I laid the first one and when I laid the second one. So now I feel my activity with kind of different activity that I used to do all the time. Yeah. Now I start to think about what I'm doing. So for 2 weeks, that's what I did. 2 cigarettes in an hour. After 2 weeks, I said, I can handle that. Let me cut it to 1 cigarette in an hour. Yeah, and then I did that for 2 weeks. And then I said, well, if I can cut it in an hour, let me see if I can cut it all together. And that's what happened. I cut it all together.
Right.
Because I make the decision, I find a way, I stick to the way, and I did it. Now, I need to prove something to someone? No, I need to prove it to myself that I can. Yeah, people saw it, they applaud me. Well, you didn't do patch, you didn't do all kind of support that they give. I said, no, because this is outside of you. This is not going to make you make decision. Make decision, it's inside of you. Yeah, this is something that you need to work with yourself. And what you do from outside, you're looking for help from others. And on the most part, it doesn't work. Yeah? Unless you make the decision.
Right. Right. All right. So name a couple of good habits that you suggest that people could replace for whatever bad habits that they're going through at this particular time.
It's kind of very hard to tell because every person knows what's working for you, what is not working for you. Yeah? So when you know what's working for you, it's a good habit.
Okay.
Yeah? Some people will tell you different. You don't listen to other people. You don't need any other person approve to what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Or when you start to do things what's good for you, and I say you have to be selfish. By that,
What do you mean?
I mean, it's not when there is 2-3 cookies in a jar and you eat them all. Yeah, that's bullying. That's what you do. But when you do something because you want to do it, and in order to do it, you need to have it in you, which is mean, if you want to love someone, you need to have the feeling first.
Right.
You want to give money to someone, you need to have it first. That's the selfish that I'm talking about.
Okay.
If you don't have it, what you share? You can't give what you don't have.
That is true.
Yeah. So that's kind of selfish. You need to have it first in order to share it with others.
Yeah, you can't be there for somebody else if you can't be there for yourself first.
All right.
Right.
And on the some we fell into that. I mean, this is a habit. When it's come from a pleasing personality. You want to please anybody else because you want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you in, now you dismiss yourself.
Right.
You got what you want. Now what?
Right.
So this is habit you need to stop, which is mean you need to start to do for yourself. And now you can share it with others. The other will accept you. You don't need to do something remarkable or to work for them, to do something for them all the time and you dismiss yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of people do that, including me. I mean, I'm not out of the wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm working with myself. It's not easy, it's not hard. It's a decision that this is the path I choose to go, I choose to do. Yeah, and that's going to lead me and take me the place I want to be.
All right, so break it down again for me. The 4 points of, introducing a new habit and breaking away from a bad habit. You said first you have to make a decision.
You have to make a decision.
Second,
you need to start to think about what you do
okay,
and to see if it's working you, supporting you, or not.
okay,
Now, if it's not, you need to find some trigger to remind you when you engage in this activity.
okay. So first, make a decision. Second, think about what you're doing. What's the third one?
Find the trigger to replace the habit that you want to replace.
Okay,
Now fill it up with the activity that you want to have. Which I talked about in the beginning. You come home from work, you sit on the couch, you open television. And you know, I need to go to the gym. Yeah, I have too much television. Gym, I don't have any. So it's not going to kill me if I go for 1 hour. Yeah, so now you replace the activity, which is a habit. That you come home, you sit on the couch, you open television.
Mm-hmm.
It's a habit. Yeah, you start to go to the gym, you come 1 hour later. You replace that hour with different activity that's more supporting you. And now you're gonna working hard, you're gonna build muscle or build cardiovascular, build something in you that's much, much better. You sit on the couch like potato and watch television.
so what motivated you to talk about this topic today.